community activism. He's one of the Medford Six, and he recently gave a very powerful speech in front of everyone at Roscoe's during the Medford Six event, so it was very powerful. We have Alan, and we have Jim left, so, you know, please stay. We only have about 45 minutes left, so enjoy.
Okay, I'm Alan Hallmark, and I am a longtime member of Citizens for Peace and Justice, which is the Medford Peace Group that was started with the help of Peace House back in 2003. In February, March, there was a series of meetings over here. The director of Peace House and some others came over and they said, Medford's a big town now, it needs its own peace community going. So I went to those meetings and was along for the ride, and we have several others in this room today who have been with Citizens for Peace and Justice along with us. Now, I think that there are a lot of similarities between what was happening in 2003 and what has happened this year. In 2003, right before the invasion of Iraq, if you remember, there was a huge outcry against that coming invasion, and that's when Citizens for Peace and Justice was formed. Hundreds of people, marched from Ashland to Medford on that March 18th, 19th, 20th, somewhere in that neighborhood. I was up in Portland for that one, but anyway, it was huge. And Citizens for Peace and Justice, each year after that, has organized a major rally on the anniversary of the invasion of Iraq. And as late as 2006, we had a couple hundred people, maybe more, out in the streets marching against the war. I remember on January 6th, 2007, we were at the Rogue Valley Mall on a January day. It was cold and overcast and threatening. And there was a line of people that stretched for a quarter of a mile along the perimeter of the Rogue Valley Mall, protesting the Iraq War. So that was a very similar time to what we have now, the Occupy movement, when people were excited about what's happening and they were willing to put their bodies on the line and go out in the streets and say, no, this shouldn't be happening. We don't want our government to be going to war. We don't want our young people to be dying. We don't want to be killing people in a foreign country. Now, I went to the Vietnam War, and I saw what it was like to be a soldier. I saw what it was like to be in somebody else's country waging war, supposedly for those people, but two-thirds of the people didn't want us to be there, And it seemed to me that the Iraq War, the Afghanistan War, the Pakistan War, all of these wars are the same as the Vietnam War, right?
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
So I could not, when they, I had a career in newspapers, and then I became a criminal defense investigator for a long time, and it was difficult for me to be an activist. But towards the end of my career, in 2003, I said, I've got to do something. I just got to do something. So that's when I got involved with CPJ, and as soon as I retired at the end of 2005, I became an activist. Okay. I looked up the definition of activist. An especially active, vigorous advocate of a cause, especially a political cause. So that's what I think I do. And I hope, and I know a whole bunch of you in this room, maybe all of you, are activists. I hope you are. That's what we need more of. We need to get outside of this room and get those folks to become activists. All those folks that were on the streets in 2003 and 2006, get them back on the streets. A lot of people have been energized by the Occupy Wall Street movement and the Occupy Medford and Occupy Ashland. It certainly has energized me and my colleagues. And because of what was happening in sometime in October, we had a meeting of folks from several different local groups, Peace House, CPJ, and others. And we sat down and we said, we are not doing enough. We have got to do, we're just standing out on the street corners holding signs, and that is not enough. We're not getting what we want. So we said, what can we do that can get us more attention, get more people involved, to get the word out to a larger audience? And our friend Herbert Rothschild said, we got to do something. We've got to do an act of civil disobedience, but a peaceful act of civil disobedience that will get us, and we not just here in Medford. We got to do it with folks throughout a larger area, because that's the way that the news media works. It gets attention. Look what's happened with Occupy. It started in New York City, and then Occupy sprung up everywhere. And it's that synergy of all of these groups working together that has, gripped the nation. And it's taken some of the Republicans, have been great at messaging, right? And the Tea Party people, and the Limbaughs and the Fox News, those people have taken the messaging away from us progressives, quite frankly.
Framing.
Yeah, framing. And in the Tea Party and the Occupy people have given us new language and new ways of framing. And people now, identify. Now they know about the 1%, the wealthiest of the wealthy who are controlling things, right? And they know that the rest of us are the 99%. And that kind of thing, and there's more, that's the kind of thing that's changing minds and so forth. So we wanted to plug into that. So this little group of folks sitting around a table said, let's do something more exciting. So we said, let's occupy Walden. And let's do it in several towns throughout the district of the 2nd Congressional District, which is a huge district, all the east of the mountains in southern Oregon. And we said, let's go to, let's talk to other folks and see if we can't do this in a coordinated manner, and that's what we did. And through the Rural Organizing Project, we got phone calls and emails going, and we connected with all these other groups, and were able to do a coordinated action where there are rallies in all 5 cities, from Hood River to Klamath Falls to La Grande and down. And we had 2 offices where people sat in and got arrested at the end of the day for refusing to leave because Walden wouldn't answer our demands. Did you have a question?
Yeah, I just wanted to know if there was any follow-up that you got from Walden, or if there was any headway made in that case.
Follow-up from Walden?
It's an oxymoron.
No. But we didn't expect it. We didn't expect it. Our audience was not Walden. We did not do this exercise for Walden's benefit.
The Bend people are forming an Occupy party, and they're looking for candidates to run against him.
Well, we have one candidate who's running against him in this room right now, Joyce Seeger. I think it's great. The more the merrier. I'd love to see, more good candidates stand up and give him fits.
There's a similar thing going on in Ashland right now too. I think they're trying to get some people to run for city council, and I believe Evan is one of those people. So it's a very interesting time in the Road Valley.
Evan Lashley is a great young man, and one of the most articulate and smart young people I've ever met. So I hope he does get started. So anyway, that's what we did, and we the other day we got fined $150 each.
Yeah.
You people, a bunch of you came to our Occupy party. We have raised well over $1,300. will be meeting to decide what to do with that money and how to spend it wisely, I assure you. And so that we can have more actions and more events that we can, put pressure on people like Walden and others to do the right thing and start representing the 99% instead of the 1%, which right now get all the representation. I don't have any great wisdom for you today. My whole thing is we got to pull together. We got to work together as all these different groups and find a way to coordinate our actions.
Can you tell me the main reason why you occupied Greg Walden's office?
The main reason we occupied Walden's office was because he is not representing the people of his district. He is representing the big banks that Nancy was talking about. He's representing the big timber that, that cuts down the trees of our state. He's representing big communications. He's on the communications committee. He represents the people who give him tens of thousands of dollars each and every campaign period. He's raised $180,000 this in the last reporting period, almost all of it in large sums of $5,000 to $10,000 apiece from these large companies and from the Koch brothers and people like that. And these are the contributions that are on the books that you can find out about.
And this is, I'm going to get myself arrested for this, but Greg Walden is quite likely complicit in the B&B fire that I'm turning in Central Oregon. Our website will go back up, and probably Biscuit as well. He came out here with Mark Ray, who was the Undersecretary of Ag, and we're just, in fact, it was Les Coyne that coached me to put those together. So the B&B website will be back up in a day or two. I'm going from here up to Bend. I've been in and out of jail on this issue. And Walden and Mark Ray, I will be very surprised if we can't. Now, what's significant, on the 10th of November, I was in Deschutes County Court and was able to get out from under all the charges and have this stuff go away. Within 2 weeks, John Kroger opens investigation into the DA over there who's clearly crooked. Pat Flaherty is being investigated by the Oregon Attorney General. I talked to Waldens' staff yesterday, and they said, you've just got to get a conviction. This is the time to push this over the top. So I'll say a little bit more about it later, but Walden is right in the middle of that. And so just know that he's a bad, serious bad guy, and you've got him with your biscuit stuff.
And the thing is that Greg Walden comes across as this mild-mannered little guy who wouldn't hurt a flea. That's what if you met him on the street, he'd look very innocuous. He'd look like, average Joe.
Where can you follow that at?
I'll be speaking.
He'll be speaking next.
Okay.
Debbie.
Oh, I promised myself I wouldn't do that. But.
Go there, go there.
I've noticed the local press who covered our action, and which we were really pleased that we did get coverage, and covered our action in front of the courthouse, the city hall as well, keeps going back and quoting Walden as saying, well, he's been in Medford this X many times in the last 2 years. Do you think it would be valuable for us to or you or someone to write an op-ed of some kind talking about the visits that he makes and how they are not town halls when he comes here, that he is not accessible to the public in a public forum? Would that be good to get that out to the media?
Can I just answer as an information? The Source Weekly up in Bend is doing an article on what's going on, and I spoke with them yesterday, and they are doing a very intense investigation of every one of the meetings that he's attended, that he's claimed, what it was, all of that. So that'll be out in Source Weekly's upcoming edition in Bend.
That's great. Nancy?
1 minute.
I want to comment that 2 years ago, November, I went back to D.C. to meet with our leaders on this foreclosure mess. And Leiden and Merkley made time for me and their aides, and they continue to be in contact with me, working with this issue in our state. Walden's people told me it is not an issue in his district.
No foreclosure.
State in the nation. And Jackson, Josephine, Deschutes County, this whole rural area is the worst part of the state. And I have called to have town hall meetings or meetings with him. And we are a politically neutral group, so it's not like we appear to be some sort of leftist group. And they have refused to have meetings with us on the topic, refused me when I traveled to DC. And I'm not down on him because he's a Republican. I'm down on him because he is not present for his constituents.
That's right. Ivan?
Yeah, I think Walden saying that he holds town halls with his constituents is like Bank of America saying, we make loans to small businesses.
You know what? When we were in Walden's office doing our Occupy, and you know they came to us and said, well, he's doing 2 town hall meetings on December 29th. And we said, okay, well, where are these town hall meetings? And the aide comes back and says, well, they're in Rufus and Fossil.
Yesterday.
What's the population?
And the population of both those towns is around 400 or 500 people. And we said, well, where is the town hall meeting in Rufus? And they came back later and they said, well, the town hall meeting in Rufus is at Bob's Steakhouse. And we said, well, when is that? 7 a.m. to 8 a.m.
Yeah. Yeah.
And is this a town hall meeting to you guys?
No.
This is a meeting, a breakfast with his rancher friends who give him money and support his campaign.
We have 2 more questions.
Okay.
Ben?
Go ahead.
So I've been trying to think of the way to frame this question. And obviously I'm a very new time activist. I've been a person who's talking about and reading politics for a long time. And as I become involved with Occupy, I find that Occupy doesn't really take one side or the other. I think Tea Party kind of supported Republicans, and I think that Occupy doesn't really support Democrats. I mean, Obama has been mic checked. Constantly you have Democrats who are getting mic checked and attacked. And one of my concerns, and I know this question is not going to get a whole lot of applause, is I worry that continuously attacking one kind of political candidate, whether it be Republican or a Democrat, almost focuses too much on that one character, and we're not really kind of seeing the outside picture. It's almost like if we were to attack a Democrat or a Republican, we're kind of going with the other party's offices. But I'm wondering, why do you think it's effective, or do you think it's effective to continue to focus on one politician? Because I feel like when politicians trade in and out, we kind of always get the same mess, which is why so many people are disappointed with Obama. We got the guy we really believed in, and he didn't really seem to change anything. So to what end do we get Walden out of office, and that really changes things in the Valley or in his district?
No, I think that we really picked Walden because he's so representative of the tool of the 1% that you guys are talking about. He is our congressman. We don't have another congressman.
Well, he's the backbone for Boehner.
Yeah.
He's Boehner's
Yep.
main backbone. So if we can take him out, it'd be very significant.
We need to wrap up.
But it's not about, it's not about, you know, I don't know that, we're not going to throw Walden out. He's not going to, he's going to raise $2 million for this. Joyce raised $33,000 last time. Now, who do you think's going to be able to win that election? But you know, I don't think that's going to happen. But this is not about getting Joyce Seegers elected. Although I'd love to see that happen, and it would be an amazing, magical thing if it did. But this is about shining a light on what's wrong with America. And this guy just happens to be a poster boy for what's wrong with America. Okay? That's my answer. But, you know, I don't think he's going to continue to be our target in every action we do. CPJ and these other groups have had, you know, we do all kinds of actions, and we certainly want to work with Occupy Medford in what you guys are coming up with in the actions you want to do. We want to support them. And we want to be there for you guys, and hope that you're, you know, glad that you were with us for our action. So, you know, we got to work together where we can work together. We may not always see eye to eye. We may not always want to work together because of a certain politics of a certain event may not suit everybody. But
By the way, I wanted to mention at occupyashlandoregon.org that all the statements by the Medford 6 are up there on that website and easily found.
And Linda Sturgeon has done amazing work coming in and doing these video interviews. And she was there with us in the Occupy, as were several of the young folks here from Occupy Medford, and that was great. They would come in and sit with us a while and then go out, and we had lots of visitors, which was really fun that day. And we really, really appreciate the people who were outside in the cold, rallying all day. You know, some of them stayed there all day and were there when we came out at night and chanting for us and taking pictures, and it was an amazing experience that I'll never forget. So thank you all very much. I appreciate it.